This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, as you all know, I love summertime. But what I love even more is spending time with our next guest and knowing that I get to see her next month in person and playing and schmoozing and networking and learning. With us is Amy Collins. She's the author of The Right Way. Amy, I screwed that up. I'm thinking of The Right Stuff.
No, you didn't.
No,
That's
The
Right Way.
The Right Way. I did that right. See? Just rolled off my mouth. Okay, here we go. So we're going to talk about a variety of the new elements that have popped up. Book Expo was at the beginning of June, beginning of the summer season. And a lot of elements came up, including changes in ebook land, where sales continue to be kind of flat. Audio is coming up. But there's other players out here. So Amy's going to really probe into some of the things that are happening in Apple land and iBooks. We're going to talk about eBooks a little bit. We're going to talk about making money, I guess. How's that sound, Amy? Making money.
Yeah. Amazon. What's going on with the real numbers? Not what the top 10 houses say, but what the entire industry is. And we've got some real numbers to share with you based on some solid reporting.
Yeah, so maybe it's like Amy says, what the hell is going on with Amazon? So let's just jump in, Amy. I'm going to start off which direction do you want to start in? What's really going on in the real industry, the industry that affects certainly our listeners and the great majority of authors, because most are not represented by the big five publishing companies. Is that true to say?
That is true to say.
Yeah.
There are some numbers that are being tossed around out there as facts that, and I want to, for those of you who are listening to this as a radio show, if you're listening in your car, if you're at your desk, I want you to promise me that you will listen to this again when you are able to put a pen in your hand, because I'm going to give you some websites and some URLs. And Judith, if you want to post these somewhere in a blog or on your website, there's some wonderful reports out there that have come out in the last 4 months. One of the biggest ones comes from AuthorEarnings.com. AuthorEarnings.com is an independent think group, but that is completely, it owes nobody anything. It is completely autonomous. And once a year, they come out with the Author Earning Report. Well, they came out with the one for 2017, somewhat recently, a few months ago. And what they were able to find is what they did is they started tracking, I'm not making this up, guys, 10 million titles a day. They started tracking the sales of 10 million different books every day. And what they were able to determine is no matter what people say about themselves, here's some of the real facts. Are you guys aware of Nielsen BookScan? Nielsen BookScan, which reports the retail sales both from Amazon and from all the big retailers out there. What I was unaware of until this most recent report came out is that if you look at the sales that are actually going through, and this is U.S. only, guys, I'm afraid I'm talking about the United States. If you look at the sales that are going through sales tax, actual U.S. Census data, and tax data, BookScan is only responsible, it only captures about 75% of hardcover and paperback purchases. They haven't even started accurately representing ebooks. So when places like the New York Times depends on BookScan so thoroughly to help load in their bestseller lists, when USA Today and some of these bestseller lists, when so many of them come from BookScan, That's only 75% of the sales. There's still 25% of the sales that are out there that are being unaccounted for. And so another thing that you will find with these numbers is that you will see emails, reports, magazine articles, blogs, all saying the same thing, that ebooks are dying. Ebooks are on their way out, and that paper is on its way back. Well, that's a lovely myth. But if you look at what the Book Industry Study Group, B as in book, I as in industry, S as in study, G as in group, what the Book Industry Study Group.org has put out, and what Author Earnings has found out, you can combine both of these very venerable institutions, and they both say the same thing. That by capturing online and ebook sales, these houses, these journalists, these reporters, these bloggers, these organizations, they're only reporting about the top publishers that belong to the American Publishers Association. Now, I love APA as much as the next person, but they are a tiny fraction of the number of publishers that are really out there. Judith, how many of your publisher friends who own legitimate, independent, small presses, how many of them are members of the American Publishers Association?
0.5%, if that.
Okay, yeah. Guys, independent publishing, and don't take my word for it. Independent publishing, according to Amazon itself, you can go to Amazon.com. Independent publishers and self-published titles were responsible for 56% of the bestsellers on Amazon last year. 56% of the bestsellers on Amazon came from independent, meaning small press like you and me, or self-published titles. Self-published meaning, again, self-published has kind of been co-opted. It means Author Solutions or Lulu.
Right. Well, that's huge. And of course, if you looked at the numbers 10 years ago, it might have been 10%. Maybe. What do you think of that? I'm just kind of speculating here.
I'm looking, and if you go to AuthorEarnings.com right now and click on the 2018 report, you guys can all see what I'm seeing. I am looking at a report right now that shows me that 58% of the units of books sold in 2018 were ebooks. 58% of the books sold last year were ebooks. And it's worth noting, I do want you to understand, Amazon is, the lion's share of those ebooks. But Judith, what percentage of ebook sales do you think Amazon is across the world, globally?
Oh, I know in the United States it's over 70%. At least that was the last number I heard. I don't know what the global number is.
It was over 70%. No, I don't mean to correct you. But it used to be over 70%. It has gone way down.
Okay.
It has gone way down because Kobo has come way up.
Of course.
Ebook sales are on the rise, guys. But Amazon's share is slowly sinking a little bit. They're still responsible at this point globally for 45% of ebook sales across the world. But keep in mind, that includes corporate libraries, universities. I mean, ebooks is a big phrase. There's 70 or 80% of ebook sales in the traditional world of a fiction or nonfiction book to the general trade.
And what is Kobo? Amy, what is Kobo? Because I know I'm certainly aware of Kobo, and it has increased a lot.
Kobo is a Toronto-based company, and they recently, over the last few years, they bought Overdrive recently, which is a huge library wholesaler. But Kobo, K-O-B-O, is the second largest ebook retailer and service provider out there. Again, they're based in Toronto. And if you don't own a Kindle, and if you live outside of the United States, you most likely have a Kobo. Kobo is not as familiar here in the States, but it has 19% of the ebook share out there globally in the world. 19%. Nook has less than 5%.
Mm-hmm. Well, then obviously Kobo is picky. I mean, I've always told people if you want to sell your books outside the United States, you have to be on Kobo. Period. There was no exception. So you don't do exclusives.
Mm-hmm. Amazon is is a force to be reckoned with. But I want to keep this, clean because we're on the radio, and I don't want to throw a lot of numbers at people. But I want you guys to hear the 2 points that Judith and I have made so far. The big starting out general point is that I want you to take what you hear about eBooks and independent sales from the traditional media with a huge grain of salt, because they are coming from BookScan, and they are coming from the American Publishers Association. And those two entities, while venerable and while I appreciate them, they do not cover even close to a full picture. They do not show the full picture. eBooks are the majority of unit sales. They are not the majority of dollars, because eBooks are far less expensive than print books. Print books are 70% of the money that comes in. I get that. But if you're looking for readers and if you want to expand your fan base, you have to pay attention to eBooks and audiobooks, because between the two of them, they're 2/3 of the market.
Mm-hmm. And so so pay attention to it. But Amy, you know what? It does go back. We're coming up to our first break, but here's what it comes up to all about, and what everyone needs to pay attention to. You can't be a one-book pony. Now, when I used to say that, it was you're only going to write one book. Now, when I'm referring to it this way, is you can't be a one-book pony and only do a book one way. That what Amy's talking about is you are nuts to jump away from doing an ebook when you hear the Big Five, which announces through the BookScan and the American Publishers Association that ebooks are plummeting. And they're flat. Is that correct?
That's right. That is not true. It is just not true.
So you need to do an ebook, period, people. Everyone do an ebook. And
now, ebooks are plummeting. Ebooks are plummeting for the top houses because they're pricing them at $14 and $15. Mm-hmm. But ebooks are growing every quarter for small and mid-sized presses.
All right. So with that, we're going to take a quick break. With us is Amy Collins. She's the author of The Right Way. She's one of my favorite publishing experts I like to play with and schmooze with and work with. And you're listening to AuthorU, Your Guide to Book Publishing. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Yeah. All right. So here we are. We're back with Amy Collins, and we're talking. A lot of times people, here's one of the problems with a lot of authors. I would say the majority authors, they don't get that this is a business. They don't want to acknowledge it's really a business, that they really should learn some of the business. And we're really crunching numbers here. We're talking about here's the reality of the business. And here's the great news that Amy is supporting with some of the data that's really being reported. It doesn't get reported. You got to go dig for this. And the reality is, if it wasn't for us indies and the self-publishing market, publishing would be an amazing doo-doo problem. How's that?
Well, I think I have a new T-shirt to make up. A new doo-doo problem.
Well, the reality is when we're coming across that we are responsible for 56% of all sales in areas, that's pretty hefty. Yes, yes, but that's on Amazon, but yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's okay. Amazon sells a lot of books, but moving on. So Amy mentioned, by the way, 2 websites that you should be paying attention to. One is AuthorEarnings.com, AuthorEarnings.com, and the other is the BSIG.org. And that
Book Industry Study Group. Yep.
Yeah, Book Industry Study Group. And that's where you can find out a lot of what the real reporting is, and you dig around in those websites, and you'll become quite knowledgeable about what's really going on out into the wonderful world of publishing. So, Amy, we're gonna shift gears a little bit, and we're gonna talk about some other things. More data, though.
All right, more data, but some really simple numbers, guys. I want you to let's rejoice in the growth that we had in 2017 over 2015 and 16 about publisher type. According to the Book Industry Study Group and Author Earnings, those of us who, and whether we call ourselves single title author publishers, micro press, indie authors, self-published authors, single author mega imprint, whether we call ourselves a new publisher, a specialty publisher, subsidy publisher, however you want to slice it. If you add all of that up, we are responsible for 18% of the book sale units that happened last year.
So total responsibility, we are 18% of the market, but we represent the majority of the market on Amazon. Do I have that correct?
Yes, we are responsible for the majority. What we don't represent on Amazon, we are responsible for the vast majority of their bestseller list.
Okay, that's correct. Okay.
We are 55% of their bestseller list. But overall, throughout the entire trade, if you look at the units sold and the dollars sold, the units sold is 18%, the dollars sold were closer to 15%. Our books are a little less expensive than the big 5. Now, I'll tell you that the big 5, the top 5 publishers, they're responsible for 25% of the units sold. But guess how much of the dollars they bring in? 43%. That is a 80%, they charge so much for their books that even though they're only 25% of the unit sales, they bring in 43% of the money that people spend on books.
All right, so Amy, when those numbers are coming in, because I'm gonna admit I buy a lot of my books at Costco for the big books, the big 5, the big 5 books. I go to Costco, so they publish them at whether it's 29 or 37 or whatever the amount is, they're in the high 20s, but we buy them for $15.95 or $17.95. That's what we do. So the unit sales, those unit sales that you're reporting, the 25% of overall unit sales, is that correct?
Yes, 25% of the units. Yeah.
Of unit sales. Do they, and then they represent, 45%?
Of the dollars, 43% of the dollars.
43% of the dollars. So, and then those unit sales are certainly included in Costco's and Sam's and big stores and Barnes and Nobles and all those, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So, as we look at these numbers, now let's look at eBooks, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just look at eBooks. The Big Five is once again responsible for about 26% of the units. But they, too, even though they only sell 26% of the units, they're getting closer to 50% of the dollars. Now, if you add up all of the indie self-published and no listed publisher, the orphan ebooks out there by us small micro presses and independent publishers,
mm-hmm.
It is 17. I'm doing math real quick on a calculator. We are responsible for 52% of the unit sales of ebooks, which is awful close to the numbers I was just giving you on Amazon. Was it not?
Yeah, no, that's correct.
We are responsible. Yeah. We're responsible for 52% of the unit sales, but we're only responsible for about 40% of the dollars because we know what people want. I'm sorry, but as independent publishers, we understand that people want to spend $5.99 for a novel. That is the right price point. We are honoring that. We are respecting our readers. We are pricing books properly. We understand that the days of $9.99 to $12.99 are over. However, the Big Five, they want to hold on to their power. They want to hold on to their profits, and they want to keep driving people to paper. They want to keep driving people to print and to paper, and so they keep those ebook sales up, and they are creating a reality that they are then lamenting.
So, I had a quickie question, Amy. Do you, this is an Amazon type question, because I was writing something up about Matchbook today. Have you ever seen any data or any numbers of how many people buy a print book and get the deep discount or free ebook with it? Have you seen anything on that?
I don't. I'm sorry. I can give you some data on Kindle Unlimited, but truthfully, I've never been all that interested in Matchbook. I didn't think it was something. I didn't think it was all that interesting.
Well,
I know Matchbook has been around for 5 years, but I thought they were slowly fading it out.
No, it's still there. It's still a choice. But, I think it's a good tool to use. It certainly does. It's certainly designed to support print books. And then you can offer as the ebook for free or 99 cents or $1.99 or $2.99, which is below sweet spot for most books. But it's a, if you got a $15 print book and you offer the ebook that might sell for $5.99, that may become really attractive to someone who wants both versions or wants to give away a version.
It probably is. I'm not as familiar with it. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. We play with that one. All right. What are some other numbers?
But I will tell you that I do know this, that Forbes.com came out with an article last March, it looks like, saying that less than 2% of the print books available as Kindle ebooks on Amazon are enrolled in the Matchbook program, and that most of those include the Big Five publishers. The vast majority of eligible titles from even Amazon's own publishing imprint. Amazon is responsible for 19% of the market. Amazon has, that they've got their own, I'm not asking you, Judith, I'm saying, to you, dear listeners, I hope you're aware that Amazon has a very robust publishing program. And I do know that Amazon doesn't even put its own titles in Matchbook, in Amazon Match. They're not all that interested. So it's mainly the big houses and a few publishers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's good to know, and I'm really surprised Amazon doesn't push it.
No, they don't enroll their own books.
Or maybe they forgot about it.
They're very, very focused on Kindle Unlimited. Have you guys, how many times have you been on Amazon recently looking for a book, and all of a sudden a screen pops up blocking your entire monitor saying, hey, don't buy that paperback. You can borrow the book for free as a member of Kindle Unlimited. They're literally asking people not to buy books, but instead to sign up for Kindle Unlimited and read the book for free. These pop-ups are everywhere now.
Well, I actually haven't got any of those pop-ups, so I'll be on the alert for them.
Oh, please, yeah.
Yeah, truthfully, I have not seen it. But the reality is, and then Kindle Unlimited, most of the people I know that have been involved in Kindle Unlimited have not been thrilled with it. Maybe you have opposite experience, but you want to make any comments? We have about 2 minutes before our next break on that.
Well, and I want to tell people that after the break, we're going to get into genre. I want to share some big numbers about what's going on in eBooks, library market, bookstores, all about genre. I've got some real strong numbers for you. And so this ties into it beautifully. Judith, I would guess that a lot of your authors are nonfiction. And it is not a good fit for nonfiction authors, but it is fantastic for novelists. If you've written a genre novel, if you've written romance or a mystery or a Western, Kindle Unlimited, Regency novels, that is where they really shine. But if you've written a memoir, if you've written a self-help book, if you've written a guide to help, it's not a great fit. And it doesn't do very well.
Well, I think that's important to understand that just because you have the mega powerhouse of Amazon behind it doesn't mean it's the ideal spot for your book. So with that said, with us is Amy Collins. She's the author of The Write, W-R-I-T-E, Write the Right Way. And we're really talking about overall what's going on behind the scenes. What's the numbers? What do they tell us on Amazon and beyond? And we'll be right back.
Is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so Amy and I were talking off air, just continuing a little bit on the Kindle Unlimited. And a lot of you may not be familiar with how exactly it works, because one of the ways authors get paid is via the validity of how many pages are read of a book that's downloaded. And there's some formulas in here, Amy. So if you would kiss on those just a tad, that would be good.
I'd be happy to. Kindle Unlimited is an ebook subscription service that Amazon put out and Judith actually called it. It was supposed to be the Netflix for books. You pay $10 a month, and you can borrow as many Kindle Unlimited books as you can read in that month. You can only have 10 of them in your bookshelf at a time. But when you're ready, you return the ones that you've already read or that you're not going to read. But for $9.99 a month, Kindle Unlimited. Now, how does the author get paid? If my book is listed and if I put it in Kindle Unlimited, then as an author, I need to be enrolled in Kindle Select, which means I am offering my book to Kindle customers only. It is an exclusive program, and I sign an agreement saying I will not make my ebook available to any other platform other than Amazon's Kindle. That's the first thing you need to know. The second thing is, if you are a genre fiction writer, it might be a great fit for you. You might want to give up your Kobo and Nook sales and consider going with Kindle Unlimited, because you can get your book in front of tens of thousands of readers that you wouldn't normally get to every month. And there's some advertising aspects that go into that. So some of the things to keep in mind that when you decide if you're going to go into Kindle Unlimited, even though millions and millions of books are eligible for Kindle Unlimited, only about 2 million titles are offered at any given time for Kindle Unlimited. And once you put your book in Kindle Select and Kindle Unlimited, if you take it out, you may not be able to put it back in. So that's just one thing I want you to keep in mind, that once you're accepted, I've had people say, well, I think I'll step out for a while and see what happens. Their sales plummet. And, you know, you may be asking yourself, what do you mean your sales plummet? It's a free book. Well, let's talk about how you get paid. Your book is put up for Kindle Unlimited, and my mother, who's a huge fan of yours and who's a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, grabs your book and starts reading it. And she will read through your book, and she'll read through the first 30 pages, and then she'll get distracted. Her grandson will break her leg or something and break his leg, and she won't read any more than the first 30 pages. You will be paid a few pennies because she read 30 pages of your book. And then let's say the grandson's leg heals and mom goes, oh, I now have time to read again. And she picks your book up and she reads it all the way through to the end. At that point, you'll be paid a solid $3 or $4. I mean, they'll say, okay, the woman finished your book, we're going to pay you. And it depends on the book. It depends on the length. It depends on your contract. It depends. I cannot tell you to the penny how much you'll be paid. But if you've written a fully fleshed out genre novel, not a 86-page novelette, but a real book, and my mother reads it all the way through, you'll get a couple of bucks. And that book can be borrowed, it can be lent, but it will get marketing opportunities to beat the band. My mom may review the book, and she didn't have to pay for it. However, because she read it as a member of Kindle Unlimited, that is called a verified review. My mom's review of your book will be considered a verified purchase review on Amazon. How cool is that? So before I move on, Judith, any questions?
I do have one question, because there's something. What about you're saying that she could, if she read the whole book, let's say a typical novel that's going to be at least 300 pages. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, let's say 300-page novel. Mm-hmm.
Okay, 300-page novel. That could be anywhere from 2 to 4 books. Is there a variable, Amy, that they have X amount of, how much money does Amazon decide? Is there a pool? Or that does each book get an assigned? If a half of the book is read, the author makes X amount of dollars. If a whole book is read, she or he makes double the amount, or what? Is that formula in play? Is it like that?
Yes, I'm glad you asked, because there is it's slightly complicated, but not too complicated for us. But here's the simplest way I can explain it. My mother pulls your book, a Kindle Unlimited book, and reads the first 30 pages in May of 2018. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Reads your book in May of 2018. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is, her grandson breaks his leg. And in May of 2018, let's say there was a $1.8 million pool that the Kindle Unlimited authors get to split among themselves. How did that number come out? That's the number of people who paid for a subscription in May. $1.8 million in subscriptions. And so everyone who had some pages read in May, it all gets worked out in percentages, who had the most pages read, and each publisher, by pages read, they split up the $1.8 million. Does that make sense?
I get that. So
come August, when my mother finishes your book, the pool was $2.3 million, because more people have paid. All of a sudden, you finish the book. When I say you get anywhere from $3 to $4, it's because depending on the month when your book is read, the pool may be bigger or smaller. It depends on how things are going for Kindle Unlimited, because authors split a pool.
All right, so they don't have any control over that, and I would suspect, that at their 9, I mean, I have no idea how many people are in at the party, because what you're saying, these are subscribers. How many subscribers are in the unlimited party? I'm suspecting that if there are 10 million subscribers at $9.95 or $10 each, and that's a monthly, that's 100 million. They are not, Amazon is only putting a teeny weeny amount in there. Would that be correct?
Yes. The amount of subscribers, but Amazon does, yes, that you've got that right.
All right. So they don't give out the whole thing. The subscription of the $9.95 is just a percentage. Well,
yes,
they
keep a cut for themselves. I mean, you've heard the MAM rule, right? We've talked about this before in your show. Making Amazon money. That is their number one goal.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that's a good information, updated information everyone needs to understand. So what I'm hearing from Amy say, bottom line, is that it's really best for the fiction market, especially the genres that do well, the mystery genres, the romance genres.
Yes.
Dystopian.
And audiobooks. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited also includes some audiobooks. It's not just eBooks. And so for those of you who are big fans of a particular genre, check it out.
Mm-hmm. And then the other side of that is, the caveat is that if you go into the unlimited pool, that means you're not doing Kobo, and you're not doing Nook, and you're not doing Smashwords, and you're not doing really anything else. You are staying just with Amazon under the unlimited umbrella. I have that
for
correct?
As long as you want to. You do have that right.
Right. You have that right. But if you step away, as Amy said, if you decide to say, you know what, I do want to go to Kobo. I do have a lot of followers in Europe. The odds are you being brought back in again have lessened quite a bit.
Yes. I don't know what the percentages are, but it is difficult to get back in.
All right. So
I've done it, but it's difficult.
All right. So everyone needs to be tuned into that. All right, Amy, let's do a redirect. I redirected you to this one. Let's go back.
Lane change.
And I think you were talking about some values. Are some of the values determined? I made a note and maybe I misdid it.
I'm happy to answer the question, but I don't understand it.
I don't either. I just have the word value, so I'm going to cross it off. All right, so we have about a minute and a half before we take our final break. So, when
we come back after this break, I really am going to talk about genres. But for Kindle Unlimited,
genres. So why don't we, if you can identify some of the top genres right now, and then we can go back and deep dive them.
According to AuthorEarnings.com and Book Industry Study Group, the top genres for eBooks is general fiction is number 1, mystery and thrillers number 2, romance is number 3. And Judith, a little aside, because I'm friends with a lot of romance publishers, do you know what the number 1 subgenre is of romance right now? It used to be, I won't say on air what it is, but we have a new, somewhat more radio-friendly number 1 subgenre under romance. Are you ready?
Are we going down the dinosaur path? Yeah, I'm ready for it.
It's called reverse harem, where women have a wide array of men to choose from. It's a subgenre that apparently is doing quite well.
Oh, why not? That sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
There's the top 3 category for ebooks. The top 3 category for audiobooks is again, general fiction, literature, fine literature, and then mystery thriller. So there you go. And the top 3 print sales.
Okay, you're going to hold that. Amy, you're going to hold that. We're going to go into the break. So we're going to find out what's the top money maker. All right? We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today. 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207. Or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at MyBookShepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so in this last segment, we're really talking about some of the top genres of where that really is getting attention. Amy went over the ebook genres that were really going to general fiction, mystery thrillers, and the romance, and then which I think is a hoot. The number one in romance was reverse harems, and that's where the ladies rule. That's just I'll just say it that way. The lady rules all the men. Got it? All right. So, audiobooks is general fiction, fine literature, mystery, and thrillers. And where are we going next, Amy?
Well, ebooks were very similar. It's literature, fiction, followed by mystery, thriller, and romance. So, same, very similar for both ebooks and for audiobooks. But then you get to print. The number one unit and dollar, both, but the number one by far, the lion's share of print books is textbooks. Okay, fine, we get that. So we move that aside. Textbooks is number one, followed by children's books, children's picture books. They're not talking about YA at this point. They're talking about from read to me and early reader down. Children's books is number two, and advice books about business and money is number three. Fiction doesn't even hit the top three of print book subgenre sales or units in 2017. Now, would you like to hear the rest of them?
Yeah, so the how-to market is alive and well. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, for business and money, it's alive and well. Children's books is number two. Textbooks is number one. Children's books is number two. That's not how-to, but number three is business and money, followed then by literature and fiction. Number five is books about science and math. Six is health, books about health.
Okay.
Yeah. Fitness, dieting, art and photography, and rounding out number 10, politics and social sciences.
So I think that the number one thing, Amy, as I go through this, and I've said it for years, I used to fight with my dear friend Dan Pointer, who died a few years ago, because he absolutely believed that print books were going to totally disappear, and they would be gone in 5 years. I remember him saying this 10 years ago, and I said, "You're wrong. They're not going to disappear." He thought ebooks would take over the world and collapse everybody instantly. and that has not happened.
Nope.
And then audiobooks have certainly increased their growth, but increasing 30% a year. I mean, it's still a much smaller percentage of the overall picture, but there's certainly some growth, a lot of growth in that area. And I would encourage. I mean, I encourage authors to do them all. Just them all.
You should. Yeah, you absolutely should, especially when you think that small presses, that we're ruling that area. Yeah, people make a living at it.
Well, I think one of the fabulous things that's come out of our conversation here is how powerful the small and independent presses are.
And how profitable they can be.
And how profitable they can be, which now brings the loop back to why it's important for all of you to understand that this is a business. Mm-hmm. and there's cost to it, and there's revenues to it. And ideally, you want to get your revenues to exceed what your costs are. That would be the game plan, but also understanding there are startup costs, and you may be upside down for a year, even 2 years before you really have your platform in place and you move it forward.
Yeah, you will be upside down.
I know
at the beginning.
But so many, Amy, expect that they'll be righted immediately, that they come out the gate, and that's where they actually need. You've got a terrific library program. I'm a big advocate of it and supporter of it, where you have a team that really goes out and pushes books to libraries, and you've really put your energy in. And also you've done the same thing with working for and waking up the independent bookstore community. Do you want to kiss on that at all?
Well, just that bookstores and libraries have seen an enormous and very surprising resurgence in the last few years. I never would have guessed that libraries would have become such a vital part of the publishing community again. I would have bet solid money that they wouldn't have, which is why I'm no longer allowed in Vegas. But independent bookstores are growing at a dramatic rate. Hundreds of them are opening every year. Library foot traffic has more than doubled in the last 2 years. Their budgets are going up. They sell eBooks. They sell audiobooks. They sell small presses. They sell independent presses. And so, yes, Amazon is great. And yes, you can make money for bookstores, but it is an investment. And if you're going to invest in the entire industry, that means marketing. It's great that I can get a book into a library, but even I can't convince a library or a bookstore to take a bunch of books if the publisher is not marketing it. If the author is not driving people into that library or bookstore to order the book. And Judith, you and John, we're going to get you into a whole bunch of libraries, and then when that's done, I fully expect, and I know you'll do it, we're then going to take out some ads online and tell people, we're going to show them your book, and we're going to tell people that your book's available at all these libraries, and when they click on the link, it's going to take them right to the library where they can check it out.
I love that idea.
That's how you market. Well, that's how you market a book. You don't just hand a book over to a librarian and hope she orders one and call it a day.
Yeah, those days are really passé. And that's what people really need to recognize, that you've got to be proactive in the game, and that if you're going to sit back on your heels thinking everyone's going to come to you and find your book and discover your book, and with no effort on your part, but you created the thing in the first place, are going to be buyers, you are living in la-la land. There is so much more to it. So much more. So anyway, I would just really refer to that. So, those of you who want to know what Amy does and what they have to offer, if you go to newshelves.com, NEYSHELVES.com, you can see the array of what Amy does, from programs to consulting. Amy, do you carry your calendar on your website at all where you're speaking?
I do. You mean where I'm going to be speaking? Yes. There's a button right up top that says, meet Amy or see Amy. And it's I'm I leave for Dublin, Ireland this week, and when I get back, I'm doing St. Louis, where you introduced me, Judith, and I thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking at AuthorU, the extravaganza in Denver in August, and then I am doing Chicago Publishers Association, followed closely by the Florida Writers Group. So it's a busy schedule, but I love helping people. So if I can help you figure out your market, drop me a line.
Okay. And I think that's a grand idea. So Amy's coming to our event in August, and that's one of the things that you get a chance. She's going to be doing a couple of programs in August on what's happening. She'll be available for one-on-one time. She'll be there for 3 days. How cool is that? And I think what's very cool about the AuthorU extravaganza, and for everyone listening in, if you spell author and then YOU, extravaganza.org, you will see the entire agenda up on what's happening in August. For August of this year, we're in the beautiful, beautiful mountains, the Rocky Mountains. Breckenridge is our host city, and they are a delightful, fabulous walking community. So we're really looking forward to having that as a lot of fun. But and as
even
I said,
if I rented a motorcycle, am I still allowed?
You can rent a motorcycle. Listen, Barb Wilson, who is doing a program on Sunday on the craft of writing and some editing, is a biker babe. And she will have her leathers on. So.
Well, that sounds good. When that's done, maybe Barb and I should go out. But while I'm out there, after I'm done, I'm going to go to Pikes Peak.
So you're going to go down to the Colorado Springs. That'll be a fabulous ride.
I think so. Yeah. No, I'm excited about AuthorU, but I'm also excited about the ride.
Yeah, and so don't break anything. But with that said, all right. So the bottom line here is that publishing is doing okay, and there are ways that all of you that are how you're publishing, with small press, micro press, indie press, self-publishing, whatever way that you're doing it, get that this is a business, let it ingrain in your DNA, in your fiber, your breathing, that you do have to do marketing with it. And with that, you will be successful. There's no question. And just don't be impatient. And Amy and I both talk about the RTP, the rush to publish syndrome. Don't rush it. Do it the right way. How's that? All right. So, Amy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you. We'll see you soon.
All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good week. Happy publishing. Happy writing. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each